Hey, friendo, Steve here.
Hey, Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steven Larson. Available wherever podcasts can be found, and of course, taped live at the Twitch at twitch.tv/Steven Larson. Today on Going In Raw, we're going to be talking about Impact Wrestling. What's up next for the champion, Josh Alexander? We're talking about some NXT UK with some brand new NXT UK tag champions. But first, let's dive into the backstage details, the real story, the scoop of the shakeup at WWE thanks to Vince McMahon's hush money scandal. Larson, what's going on?
So PW Insider, is reporting that interim WWE CEO Stephanie McMahon had an all-hands-on-deck meeting yesterday, so that would be Thursday, and addressed the WWE board's investigation into her father. According to PW Insider, Stephanie stated that Vince had, quote, stepped back and added that, quote, she loves her father and that she loves WWE and will be doing everything she can for the company in the days ahead. They also note that as of this week, Stephanie has been actively involved in meetings that usually would have seen Vince McMahon taking part. In the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter, Dave Meltzer offered up some details on how Stephanie was appointed interim CEO, stating, quote, Stephanie McMahon being put in power was said to be based on decision of a special committee, which would be the 8 members of the board of directors that were not Nick Kahn, Vince McMahon, Stephanie McMahon, or Paul Levesque, of course, Triple H.
That is a little bit of interesting context right there, you know, for people who think, oh, she's just going to be a puppet for the old man. Although, as CEO, you would think that she'd be able to make decisions like, hey, head of creative, don't go out there. But then, I don't know, ratings seem to be up, so maybe Vince does know best. Maybe him showing up and going out there and saying, together. Maybe that's the key to higher ratings. I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know.
It isn't the other thing though. It's interesting. You know, the fact that they're at least in this situation seem to be being run like an actual company.
Mm-hmm. Where Vince, under investigation, actually recused himself.
Right. Yeah.
From a vote.
They're doing some normal stuff there.
Yeah. I wonder if there's, legal apparatuses in place based on, their corporate structure that they have to lay out in such an event.
Well, they're a publicly traded company, so they have to do some of that stuff.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a financial legal mind by any stretch of the imagination, but you would think that would have to happen.
One of the most terrifying scenes in Succession was early on when Kendall was going to try to hold that vote, and his dad was supposed to be outside the office when it's happening.
Just staring at all of them.
And he's just in there eviscerating everybody, and they're like, no, we're good, Kendall. Sorry.
Yep.
I imagine that's Vince. They're like, hey, the board is going to get together and decide these things. And he's like, no chance. That's what you could do in the dance.
Oh, God damn it, pal. I'll be just right outside.
Oh, no, Dad's supposed to be further back. He's not supposed to be here intimidating us. Oh, man.
I'm going to be able to make eye contact with every one of you.
Speaking of Paul Levesque, a.k.a. Triple H, a.k.a. The Game, the King of Kings, Cerebral Assassin, the leader of DX,
all those things.
All that. So, John Pollock, of course, reported yesterday that Triple H spoke at the
Wednesday.
I'm sorry, it was
yesterday.
Wednesday, yeah. That Triple H spoke at the WWE Performance Center and announced, I'm back. We talked about this on the AEW review that night. Mm-hmm. But he didn't really have any additional details as what the Game's role might end up being. In the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter, Dave Meltzer offers up some potential details. He says this, then on June 22nd, that was Wednesday, Paul Levesque, Triple H, had a meeting with talent and officials in Orlando, Florida. He said he was back but didn't explain what he meant. Multiple people at the meeting noted him using the words, I'm back, but he never made clear if he was back in charge of NXT or just back at work, which he's been for some time, but hadn't been back to Orlando. Levesque had been a longtime head of talent relations before being removed from the position quietly. There had been talk before any of this went down with Vince that Levesque was going to be back in a bigger role shortly, so this is likely not related to the investigation, although the timing would indicate the time of this move could be related in some form. Meltzer's, he's had a long week.
Seemingly.
He's had a long week. He says he did indicate that there would be things changing, but could not go into detail on them just yet. So that's in that last sentence, sort of the pertinent info there. He did indicate that things there would be changing.
Yeah.
Things are going to change around here.
Yeah. And as far as Triple H coming back to a larger role, does that mean he's going to resume some of the responsibilities he had before his cardiac event? Is he going to take on a different role? Mm-hmm. Again, other than I'm back, which could mean I'm back in charge of NXT. I'm just back in Orlando. Yeah. I'm back at the Performance Center. I mean,
things are going to change around here. Look at this. There's a bag of chips on the floor. It's just laying here. You guys need to start cleaning up after yourselves, okay? Who
looks at the bag of chips? Is like, oh, sour cream and onion, my favorite. Starts eating.
Who wants cleanup duty after practice on Fridays? Okay, you broad breaker. You want Fridays? Locker room leader, right there, everybody, stepping up to the plate.
Yes, starting off his weekend and cleaning up the locker room.
You McDonough, you get Tuesdays and Thursdays. You're due. McDonough from the McDonough family wrestling. Oh man. So yeah, anyways, and it's all just an evolving thing. You know, the carnies are figuring out how the real world works now, and we get to sit here and watch the ride happen, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, there's a lot of kind of little tidbits of news, and it's all pretty vague. Mm-hmm. So it's hard to make any real determinations on what larger role Triple H might have when we don't know what would constitute a larger role, what he is actually even up to doing now.
Yeah, right.
We don't know any of those things.
Yeah.
So without more details, it's kind of like, okay, larger role for Triple H. Okay.
Yeah, right on.
Whatever that is.
Yeah, who's in charge of catering these days? You're just ordering from Wawa? Are you kidding me? Get out of here with that. Where's the prime rib?
Well, you don't think Triple H has had his fair share of delicious Wawa sandwiches?
Look,
I've heard nothing but good things about the Wawa sandwich.
I'm as big a fan of Wawa as anybody. But come on, this is supposed to be the premier performance center in the country. He's the only one in the country, Triple H.
It's really the only one in the country. And there's a Wawa just down the street. I don't know if that's actually true.
There's got to be. I think they're everywhere there.
Yeah, I think the Wawas are everywhere down there in Florida.
Impact Wrestling. Let's talk about Impact Wrestling, Larson.
Yeah, let's do that. Why did they start the show out with 20 minutes of talking? This is like you get like a quarter of your show, and it's just Honor No More yapping away about not a whole hell of a lot.
Look, Impact Wrestling. I'm going to look directly at Impact Wrestling.
Yeah, say it to camera, Steve.
Scott Impact, listen. If we're going to be taking our time here going in Raw to cover your show, you can't be dropping 20-minute Authority-esque promos at the beginning of your show. Honor No More comes out. As much as I like Honor No More, there is one person in Honor No More. Sorry, I don't actually like them.
I was going to say.
No, I think they're fine wrestlers. As much as I respect that they're there, there's one person who should be talking, and that's Maria.
Yep.
And that's it. Nobody else should be talking there. Certainly not Matt Taven. So yeah, they come out and it's like literally, like you said, I think it was like maybe 5 minutes of recap of the show, which Slammiversary is a big show. You can have a recap on that. And then it was like to 17. It was like literally 12 full actual minutes of them just talking. Mm-hmm. And they'd pass the microphone to each one and they just talk.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it was like 25 or so minutes before the first match started.
It was a while. It was a
while because there was that opening segment. And then you had Giselle Shaw talking to Alicia Edwards. And then you had Honor No More confronting Scott D'Amore. So the first three segments of Impact, which usually, every once in a while they do, but usually don't do these extended promo segments. Now you got the first third of your show basically with no actual wrestling in it. And that's just atypical of Impact.
It is. And that's why we're sort of harping on it right now, because it's not typical of Impact, and it's not something we want to see from Impact. So Scott Impact, let's cut this out anyways. So Honor No More comes out. They just talk a lot. They sort of lay into PCO a little bit.
Yeah, I thought. Well, here's the thing too. Sorry, to interject here. So they spend a whole lot of time complaining about losing, but then they say they didn't lose because there's like basically a conspiracy against them. It was all set up for they're going to lose anyways. And then it seemed like, oh, if they didn't kick PCO out, at least there's movement.
Yeah, right.
There's story progress and development. And then Vinny steps in and goes, no. I didn't bring PCO back to life just for this to happen. And then he just goes on about the conspiracy. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, you teased us with something actually moving forward, but it's not happening, and it's a bummer. So Taven talks some more. People blaming him for the end of Ring of Honor, and he said no. Anyways, eventually America's Most Wanted, James Storm, Chris Harris come out, and then they're like, hey, we came up in a time when you had to claw to the top and earn respect from the peers and fans. We've been doing this for over 25 years, a time when wrestlers look like wrestlers and not bums. He says, but the problem is if they were good, they would have, if I don't know more were good, they would have learned from their loss. They would have gotten to learn. But the problem is that they just suck.
I mean, was he referencing directly Vincent? When he said, when they look like bums? Because he looks like, he might, have seen his fair share.
I think that was the idea. Yes.
Okay. So, anyways, yeah. Where are we now?
And then Kenny King talks some crap, and then Chris Harris talks some crap, and eventually brawl breaks out. The Good Brothers come out too, and then the Briscoes come to make the save. I'm gonna tell you, man. Mm-hmm. I think it's a creative misstep to have the Briscoes be like super cool with the Good Brothers just because they had a tag match and they lost. Mm-hmm. I need that. I want to see that fire, that hunger, that passion. You beat me, I'm not going to be your friend, especially when leading up to this, they went to their chicken farm and talked a bunch of shit and started a fight with their dad. Now they're buddies? I don't buy it.
Oh, I buy it. I'm totally with it, It's like, dude, they've been like 18,000 time champions already. We've been over this. I'm cool with it because it's like, hey, you've been champions. It's like, hey, there's a time and a place. We'll step up at some point when all this is said and done. But these guys,
but why are you in the wrestling business if not to make money and win gold? And you make more money when you're champion.
Well, it's been established that the Briscoes, for as prolific of champions they have been in the past, they're also chicken farmers. So like, hey, this wrestling stuff is a lot of fun, but our core business is chicken farm.
But you think the money they earn from wrestling, they can expand their chicken farm operation.
Man, they were in Ring of Honor. They didn't earn no money from wrestling. How much do you think they make in Ring of Honor? Like $50 a match?
No, they're probably a couple of the highest paid performers in Ring of Honor because they've been there forever.
$100 a match, max.
They're probably making $100,000 a year.
You're probably right, but I was just trying to make a joke here.
Yeah, you were trying to.
Anyways, after that, Giselle Shaw walks up to Alicia Edwards. They have an awkward confrontation. She's like, hey, who's your coach, Alicia? And Alicia says, you're supposed to be my coach, but you're scared of Masha Slamovich. Who wouldn't be, by the way?
Yeah.
So Giselle says, I'm not scared. I just don't want anything to do with her. And Alicia says, what? You're scared? What are you talking about? She's like, no, I just don't want anything to do with her. It's like sort of the same thing. She's like, we're supposed to be a team. And she says, but you don't work well with others. For example, ask Lady Frost, who just asked for her release. Shaw tells Alicia, she says, if you like her so much, why don't you team up with her? And Alicia says, that's a good idea. I'm going to team up with her so much, she's going to ask for her release. She says, I'm going to find other knockouts who don't like you too. And then Shaw says, I'm destined for tag gold. I just need to find a partner.
Yeah.
Like, don't you find a partner first and then consider yourself destined for tag team gold? This is backwards. This is backwards here.
Yes, it is. It is. So then Honor No More, they go find Scott D'Amore backstage, confront him, and they were complaining about what just happened out there, saying Slammiversary was a fluke. And Scott says, all right, if you want an opportunity, you get another opportunity. 10-man tags are your specialty. You get another one. And against all odds, it's 5 of you against Good Brothers, Briscoes, and James Storm. And I need a main event tonight. So Eddie, Tave, and Bennett, you're in main event against Briscoes and James Storm.
Yup. After that, we had Chelsea Green versus Mia Yim. So Deonna Purrazzo came out here for shenanigans. She was on commentary, but then at one point when Mia Yim went up top, Deonna pushes her off the top rope while the ref was checking on Chelsea Green. Then Mickie James, hardcore country, comes running down ringside, tackles Deanna, and then Chelsea goes for an unprettier. Mia Yim escapes that and then hits her finish. Eat defeat for the win.
Yep. Then we had an influence interview, and Madison Rayne has like a bandage on her nose.
Yeah.
Idea is that it's broken.
Right.
So they're asked, hey, it's pretty clear what happened at Slammiversary. And Tenille says, yeah, it is pretty clear what happened, referencing the broken nose on Madison. And then she was trying to blame Rosemary and Taya for it. And then Gia says, well, it happened because you two ran into each other. And Tenille says, oh, honestly, I can't remember what happened because I have an egg on the back of my head. She has like a welt. Mm-hmm. And Madison says, that you wouldn't have that on the back of your head if we hadn't knocked heads. And so Giselle Shaw steps in and says, hey, it looks like you need a fill-in. Why not me? And then they go back and forth a little bit, and ultimately Madison says, well, you know what? If you take out Rosemary or Taya, maybe it'd be something we would consider. And Giselle says, consider it done.
This is like a Kevin Durant thing. He's like, hey, guys, you just won a championship? I want in on that. But here's the problem. In basketball, it's 5 people on the court, 12 people on the entire team. Mm-hmm. In tag team action, there's two people.
So and only one person in the ring at the time.
She's trying to finagle her way into a tag team destined for tag team gold.
Yep.
Sort of an oddball situation there.
Indeed it is, Steve. Yeah. Indeed. Then we got Bhupinder Gujar and Shark Boy taking on Zicky Dice.
Shark Boy.
And Johnny Swinger. Gujar hits Dice with that awesome gargoyle spear to get the win. Mm-hmm. That's a cool move.
It is a cool move.
And then Diener and Joe Doring come out, hit the ring. They lay everybody out. Diener grabs the mic, says, we're not going anywhere till Josh Alexander comes out to the ring right now. So we go to commercial, come back. Josh Alexander comes to the ring. And he's like, I wonder what you're going to say. And then Cody says, it's not what I need to say. It's what you need to feel. Mm. How does it feel to stand across the ring from your demise? How does it feel to stand across the ring from Confused Cowboy Joe Doring?
Cowboy, yeah.
The man who's never been pinned in an Impact ring. The man who's challenging you for the title at Against All Odds. And he says, Josh, I know how you feel. I've seen it in your eyes. You're afraid. Embrace that fear. Embrace the fact the last time you stepped in the ring with Joe, you lost. Embrace the fact that he can't beat Joe. And embrace the fact that against all odds, they accomplish their mission and bring the title home to the family of Violent by Design. And Josh says, well, your family seems to be thinning out. Why isn't Eric Young out here to deliver this news, huh?
Where am I? Where'd I go?
And he says, I have my doubt that Eric Young has anything to do with this because he knows that Eric Young hasn't been seen since Slammiversary. And pretty soon, the same thing is going to happen to Joe Doring. And that means, Diener, you're going to be on your own out here. So Joe Doring, bang, punches Josh Alexander. Whoop. We eventually get a bit of a fight. Doring and Diener beat up Josh. And then the match between Josh Alexander and Diener happens right after that.
I'm on vacation. Vacation by design.
There we go.
Josh Alexander versus Cody Diener, like you said, was up next. Cody Diener ends up tapping out to an ankle lock in this match for Josh Alexander to pick up the win. But it seems like, yeah, man, we're getting Confused Cowboy versus Josh Alexander at Against All Odds coming up. I think
that's like on the 1st, so week from Friday, week from today.
Man. The era of Confused Cowboy begins.
It's at hand.
It's Against All Odds, of course, named after the wonderful Phil Collins song.
Yeah.
Against All Odds. What's
from the movie of the same name?
What's your favorite Phil Collins song, Larson?
Oh, it's got to be In the Air Tonight.
Take that one out because that's sort of the popular thing, right?
Oh, then probably it's the studio. Although Land of Confusion is very good too.
Wasn't Land of Confusion like technically Genesis?
Yeah, it is, but he was like the primary songwriter for Genesis.
Really? Yeah, he was basically Genesis. Yeah, Land. That's a good one. I think Against All Odds might be after In the Air Tonight. Might be my favorite one.
Oh wow! Take a look at me now.
Take a look at me now, 'cause I am Confused Cowboy. Sorry. That was
See, standing here at Against All Odds is a new Impact champion.
don't encourage me, man. Come on. Anyways, Frankie Kazarian.
Come on, this is the Impact review. We can have fun with it.
the future. Nothing funny about the future, Larson. Frankie Kazarian had an interview.
No.
And he said Slammiversary 2022 was one of the greatest nights in his career. He says, for a normal person, for a normie, that would give them some sort of sense of closure. He says, but I've never been accused of being a normal person. I'm a weirdo. He says, I came to Impact to answer a challenge, to settle my rivalry with Chris Sabin. He said, that got taken away from me. So I challenged Sabin to a match next week.
Yeah. Then we had a Jordan Grace promo from after her win at Slammiversary where she was thanking Tasha Steelz. I accidentally fast-forwarded through most of this, and I didn't have an opportunity to go back and watch the rest of it.
Accidentally.
Well, like sometimes if it looks like there's, they'll have like clips
What do you
stuff
watch this on?
On YouTube.
Oh, okay, yeah.
If there's like clips or something that I've seen, I was like, all right, I don't need to see this, and I move ahead, or they'll do replays or people celebrating after their match. I was like, okay, I just want to move on.
Are you watching on your laptop or on the television?
On the laptop.
Oh, okay.
And so I just skip ahead.
Okay, I got you.
And then I skipped ahead and saw a Jordan Grace interview from Slammiversary. I was like, oh, I should probably pay attention to this. And I caught the very end of it.
Yeah. It was just some stuff. Tasha Steelz says, responds to it, saying, Jordan shouldn't be thanking me because at Against All Odds, she says, I'm going to get back my Knockouts title. She said, but Jordan thinks she's the strongest woman on the roster if Jordan gets past Savannah Evans next week, which everybody does. She says, I'll see her at Against All Odds. You coming back to me?
It's against the odds. It's a chance I got to take.
To get my Knockouts title.
Then we had Sami Callihan versus Jack Price. Sami wins with a pile driver in pretty quick fashion. Moose comes out to the ring, spears Sami, hits him with a chair a bunch of times, then hits an Uranagi through a table set up ringside.
I thought Jack Price had a good chance here, but nope. You'd have thought Jack Price in his debut match, he'd have to win, right?
You'd think so.
Guess not. That young upstart Sami Callihan proved me wrong. Low price. Jack discount.
I did. Hey, wasn't it? It was pretty. I haven't seen Sami do this. I didn't notice at Slammiversary. He had the Snorri cam on for his entrance.
He did, yeah.
So for those who don't know, this is like a camera system that was developed, I think, for Requiem for a Dream, or maybe it was.
I think he had it on Pi.
In Pi, which is
Pi.
like a camera system that the actor would put on their body, and it's a camera that's set up so when the actor moves, the camera moves with them.
Right.
And it was used in Pi, I believe, and definitely in Requiem for a Dream. And so Sami comes out for his entrance, and the camera is attached to him. And so when he spins around the rings, anyways, I just noticed that. I thought it was fun.
No, this is great. Hold on. I kind of want to watch the entrance again because I sort of noticed it when he first. He totally had Snorri cammed. Oh my God, it looks cool.
Yeah, it is pretty neat.
It totally looks like a scene from Requiem for a Dream. That's amazing.
I appreciate the Sami's working in a bunch of movie references. I mean, obviously, like his branding now is all Pulp Fiction font.
Yeah. It's Grindhouse stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and his video package now is a lot of, as you mentioned, Grindhouse movie type thing.
That's cool. Yeah, that is neat. That's neat.
So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
After that, we got the Briscoes backstage with America's Most Wanted. Good brothers step up, tell them, hey, we got your back tonight. They all start walking out towards the ring, and then Chris Harris is joining them, and Storm's like, whoa, where are you going?
Oh, this is sad.
Chris Harris says, well, I'm going ringside with you. And James Storm says, no, you're not. You made a promise to your family and to me. You're not going out there, because I guess he's got injury issues.
Yeah.
So he can't wrestle anymore. And eventually Chris Harris goes, okay, yeah, I promise I won't go out there. And Storm says, go home. I got this.
Yeah. Yeah, this was a bummer. He really wanted to help his friend.
He did.
Yeah, dude. Anyways, yeah, I like the bit with the Good Brother stepping up to the Briscoes because I like when rivals become new best friends, Larson. That's what I like.
I just felt like they needed more battles together to earn that respect. Just one match and they're sharing beers after going to their chicken farm.
Wasn't it? Well, hold on a second now. I think you're number one underselling the bonding aspect of going to a chicken farm and having a fight. Maybe we're not reading between the lines. Maybe after the chicken fight, Carl Anderson was like, hey, that farm was pretty nice. can I have some tips about chicken farming? And one of the Briscoes
Dude,
like,
did
hey,
you see
man.
Mark Briscoe swing a giant rod at the Good Brothers?
Yeah,
There was no respect
this
there.
is after that. They were like, hey, you want to know about chickens, man? I'll tell you about chicken, man. No, I don't want to know about chicken, man. I want to know about chickens, man.
Comma, man.
So stupid. Anyways, I like furthering the feud of us being on different pages with Briscoes versus Good Brothers.
I don't buy it, Steve.
I buy it completely, man.
There's got to be a turn coming up soon. The Good Brothers are just bringing the Briscoes closer and closer and closer. Then bam.
Well, they've had 3 matches, right? Because didn't they have a multiverse of matches match?
There's that, and then the tag match is Slammiversary.
Chicken
That's
farm
not a match.
fight.
That was a fight.
Oh, come on. Same thing, dude. Chicken farm fight.
Did anybody take a pin?
It was a fight. It was a fight.
Not a match, though. Anyways, 2 matches.
Take a pin. They took a friggin' wrench swing to the head. That giant wrench.
I mean, Doc Gallows almost took a pin to a chicken that hit him in the head.
They're like this, man. Hang die, baby. Hang die.
No, I'm telling you, Good Brothers are going to turn on
Larson.
first chance they get.
Hang die. Anyways, afterwards, Sami Callihan was looking for Scott Impact, and instead he finds Gale Impact. Sammy says, "Hey, I want to end this with Moose." And Gale's like, "Okay, well, what's more violent than a monster's ball match?" And Sammy says, "I had a phone call on the payphone with an old friend." Sammy seems like a payphone guy, Larson.
Yeah.
He says, and that old friend had a great idea. He meant a literal old friend because he was talking to Raven, who's old. And he says, I want Raven's Clockwork Orange House of Fun match, which I believe is a Warner Brothers IP, but whatever. Gale then says, okay, fine. You have match.
You'd be correct, W. Well, I mean, they produced the movie. I don't know if they still.
Well, I think some of the characters of Clockwork Orange were in that Space Jam.
Space Jam, yeah, they were. That's right.
They're part of the Warner Brother multiverse, dude.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Then we had our main event, Honor No More versus the Briscoes. Honor No More ended up getting the win. Mark Briscoe hits Mike Bennett with the Death Valley driver, goes to the top. Taven knocks him off, and then Bennett and Taven hit their finishes like a backpack stunner Claymore combo. And then eventually, Honor No More, the rest of them come out. They beat the heck out of the Briscoes. They beat the heck out of Storm. Good Brothers come out to beat the heck out of them, and then they all take turns destroying Mark Briscoe's leg.
And it was kind of interesting because I felt like Bennett, had a good point. He was like beating up on like Jay or something like that, and he was like, "You should be one of us. You should be one of us." Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, this right here, this brawl right here, bringing the Briscoes and the Good Brothers together, forging the alliance.
That is the first good point you have made. With respect to this feud.
Thank you.
So I will give you credit there.
Acknowledge me.
I'll give you the credit. See, now if there was a thing,
validation, man.
Now if it was a thing where where America's Most Wanted came out with the beers at Slammiversary, and the Briscoes are like, "Nah, man, we just lost. I mean, thanks, but no, thank you."
I still say you're underselling the bonding power of a 6-pack, man. Guys just had a fight, lost their titles, but hey, these guys are coming here saying, "Hey, you guys represent the best in tag team, and Impact's all about that. Have some brewskis." I'm sold. I'm like, let's crack them open.
I'll be like, nah, man, it's too soon. Too soon. I'm still sore over this loss.
You know what, man? Next Thursday we ball up. I'm gonna bring that apple fritter that you wanted, and when I beat you again, I'm gonna be like, "Hey, man, look, apple fritter," and then you're gonna be like, "Hang die."
No, I'm going to take the apple fritter and go sit by myself and cry into that fritter about another loss.
It's a big-ass fritter, though.
It is. It's all mine.
Can I have a piece of that fritter that I gave you?
No. I'm stinging from a tough loss. I'm not going to share it. That's my consolation right there.
All right. Fair enough.
Hey, before we get to the UK recap, now that Tony Khan's press call before Forbidden Door has concluded, I think it might conclude before we start, but PW Insider has a breakdown. We can go over some of the salient bits here. If that
let's
sounds
do
like
it.
A good time.
Let's do it.
All right, so this is all from PW Insider. I'll get the link in the description. So I know he talks here about the timeline when he found out when he was getting people or having access to New Japan talent. And I guess, obviously, Punk and Tanahashi was planned from early on, and then I guess Orange Cassidy versus Ospreay was planned seemingly pretty early on, too. But then Okada, I think I read that it was within the last week they found out that he'd be able to show up. And then Jay White was not that much longer.
Really?
In terms of them being involved in Forbidden Door, yeah.
Jay White, wait, when did Jay White make his first appearance for AEW.
Oh, it was a while ago.
Yeah.
But I guess in terms of him being like for sure on the card, I don't know.
Oh, I wonder if that's why there was all that ambiguity about, oh, you want to know I'm going to fight? I might not even be there. Yeah, Okada's not going to be there. Wow. All right. That's interesting to know.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. He talks about Bryan Danielson's injury a little bit.
Nobody asked a follow-up on, like, why? Oh, like they wouldn't have known. Like, was it travel issues? Like, because, I mean, obviously the visa stuff is a heavy, you can't mess with that.
Yeah.
Huh. I wonder why that is.
Yeah. He talks a bit about Bryan Danielson's injury, said that he was feeling better, but he says this is, quote, any chances if he's not feeling 100% of the time. And so Kahn says not matching happening. He did on Busted Wide Open today promise that it's Ryan's fill-in is going to lead to another dream match scenario between Zack Sabre Jr. and mystery opponent. Let's see. We've seen this news on Twitter. We're going to get one more match announced for the buy-in tonight on Rampage.
Mm-hmm. Was that confirmed for the buy-in? Because I just saw the match was happening, and I just sort of speculated that it was the buy-in.
No, it hasn't even been confirmed on AEW TV because I think Rampage tonight is live. I think.
No.
Oh, they taped
Rampage was taped. That's why it was. Yeah, it was in.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So no, they haven't actually confirmed it, and probably won't until tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And then Tony Khan apparently talked about AEW's wellness policy.
Oh, okay. What did he say about that? That
says he was asked if the company's looking into one, and he says they do have one. And he says this is from PW Insider. They are here to support someone who comes to him and says they have a problem. He talks about Jeff Hardy needed treatment. Let me see here. Says if any talent, Tony Khan said if any talent needs help, he's here to stand by them and help them. If someone needs time off, they can get it, no matter how much money they draw or are needed by the company. He says they do have policies in place to make sure people come to work in a condition to work. There is a testing policy. He wants to stress that they are here to offer help for anyone who needs it. Hopefully they will come to them for help as opposed to getting in trouble and then coming to them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that's the confirmation of a wellness policy is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
You talked a little bit about working with Gato and Rocky Romero. Believes they got a good relationship. Oh, I think it was asked too about another or more Forbidden Doors. Let me see. Yeah, right here. He said they're already looking at the possibilities. They have $1 million gate in Chicago, so a sequel is to be expected. He says there's so many stars between the companies. The hardest part of AEW is getting so many stars in, and this is why we have so many stars in the company. I think fans all over the world are excited about the show. He says he made changes after talking to Danielson over the weekend. He feels good about the lineup as it stands now. It's interesting.
That is interesting stuff. See how it all shake out on Sunday.
Indeed.
Right here at the tool. Well, not right here. You can get on Bleacher Report, but we're going to be watching it live.
We are, but we won't show the pay-per-view.
Twitch.tv/. My camera might slip here and there.
Don't you do it.
If you want a frame or two, maybe of the show.
You're going to make a liar out of me if you do that, because everybody always asks me to say the thing. The thing.
Yeah.
And if I do it and then you show it, then you make me look like an a-hole.
We have not just a career, but a bond, a relationship.
I got to have my integrity because I don't have much else.
Based on you, number one, interrupting me all the time, which is fine. But number two, me undermining you all the time. So this is sort of how we just exist. Arguably, it's the secret to our success. Can we talk about NXT UK now, please?
Yeah.
New tag team champions. The Briggs and Stratton guys from NXT. I don't
want to spoil for this for you because I thought you'd be excited about it.
I want to be more excited about it. So here's the thing. I love everybody that was in that match. Phenomenal match. Elimination was great, right? Came down to Briggs and Jensen, and I love them. I think they're terrific.
But you wanted De Familia to get that win, didn't you?
Well, for two reasons. Number one, I love De Familia more than like anything, right? That's number one. There's actually a couple reasons. Number two.
First of all, Teo Man's mistake was teaming up with Raja and not Charlie Dempsey. You want to win those tag titles, you get Charlie Dempsey in that corner with you.
You're absolutely right, but here's the thing. They kind of looked like assholes by the time that finish happened because like Teo Man and Charlie Dempsey were on the apron. They get kicked off by Briggs or Jensen, I forget who, and then they hit their finish on Raja, the guy who's eating pins. And De Familia, they hang out in that apartment all day, acting like they're, these tough guys, these mafioso types. And they should beat the guys who are, sort of new to NXT proper.
Jet lag still probably.
Right.
You know what the issue is, Steve? What do they have at these meetings?
Oh,
what do they always have?
No food. They got no energy, man. They got no energy. They're burning. They're running on fumes. Well, the thing is, and this is why I have to always remember this, is sadly, unfortunately for me, a big fan of UK. UK is developmental for NXT, which seems completely backwards because the vast majority of people in UK have been wrestling longer than the people in NXT, but that's just the way the ladder is. That's just the way they go up to NXT. So yep. Briggs and Jensen, it benefits anything they do in UK. If it pertains to NXT UK, it's to help NXT. That's what happens. UK is there to help NXT if there is help needed. And in this case, yes, Briggs and Jensen, because they are above De Familia on the ladder of WWE developmental, they're supposed to win this match. And that's fine. As a fan of all these teams, it's hard for me to make sense of it storyline wise, because Briggs and Jensen are still relatively new. De Familia are supposed to be this intimidating act. And yeah, it's kind of a drag. Now, maybe by the time Briggs and Jensen's excursion in NXT UK is done with, De Familia will end up picking up those tag titles.
I would think so.
But in the interim, I love it for Briggs and Jensen for them to get their first shot. I think they have taken this sort of not great gimmick of just like this because they're very 1990s. And they've really run with it. They have good chemistry. They look like they're having tons of fun. And that's what I like to see in my wrestling. And they're developing as a tag team. So I'm fine with it. Not overwhelmingly happy just because it came at the cost of my dudes in De Familia.
All right. Fair enough. I thought you'd be over the moon about it. But
honestly, if it was like, hey, we're going to take on, if it was just like, I don't know, Jack Stars and, or I don't know, I like them too. Oh, honestly, if it was Andrews and Wild Boar. Because that is the most thrown together tag team.
But they've been friends for a long time, Steve.
I'll be much happier. Everybody in UK has been friends forever. I'll be much because they all started wrestling when they were 12. I'll be much happier when Briggs and Jensen pick up the tag titles in NXT proper because that'll be a big deal. But them to come in, interrupt the flow of my show. Not huge into it, but I appreciate you keeping the spoiler from me.
Look at it this way. Maybe I don't know how the timing lines up of all this. Although I think this was just taped.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get a couple weeks of Briggs and Jensen on NXT 2.0 with those UK tag titles.
Yeah.
And then maybe people will be like, "Oh, I like Briggs and Jensen."
Yeah.
I want to see more of them, so I'll watch NXT UK, and more people will start watching UK.
There are definitely positives to it, and that's absolutely one of them. Happy for Briggs and Jensen. They've been working really hard. It's obvious.
They have.
So it's good for them. So yeah. Anyways, unfortunately, that means that the current NXT UK champions, Ashton Smith, Oliver Carter, had to vacate them because at the beginning of the show, they both come out, and Smith, he's wearing a knee brace over his knee, over his clothes rather. And he says during the tag title win, he suffered, I believe it was his MCL tear. Yeah, okay. He said, we're looking forward to our first events against Brooks and Jensen, but he says the thing I'm dreading the most is looking Carter in the eye and letting him know I let him down. Carter says, Smith, you didn't let me down. Our goal is to become champions, and we did it. I really hope these guys, once he's fixed up, they get another run with the titles.
Totally.
Yeah. I mean, maybe if De Familia has him after Brooks and Jensen, then by the time he gets back from the MCL, which is usually, like 6 months or something like that.
6 months usually for a knee injury like that, yeah. So Ashton Smith calls out Sid Scala, and Sid says, yeah, we see the medical reports. Circumstances are unfortunate, but NXT UK needs tag champions. So Smith and Carter hand over the belts, and Smith asks Sid just to say it one more time. And Sid does. He says, NXT Universe, show your appreciation for your tag team champions. Oliver Carter and Ashton Smith. Yes.
Sid said that very hesitantly. I don't
know why.
Like he had no desire to do it. It's like, man, give him a little bit of chest, I
know.
Put your all into it, buddy. They're about to be off TV for 6 months.
I know. Come on, Sid.
You slimy.
So then Sid says the titles are vacant, so he and Johnny Sate are going to do something, but they're going to by De Familia. They come out and say, we were never pinned in that tag title match, so technically the tag title should be ours, so declare us champions. And then Sid says, I understand your position, but you're not the only team hungry for an opportunity. So then Briggs and Jensen come to the stage, as do Andrews and Wild Boar and Mastiff and Stars. And then Sid says, main event, 4-way elimination match to crown new tag team champions.
Yep. After that, one of our favorite wrestlers in NXT, Saray, enters Mako Satomura's locker room, one of our favorite wrestlers in NXT UK. Of course, Millie McKenzie's there, not dancing still, sadly. Her and Mako chat a little bit, and then Saray leaves, and Mako says to Amelia, she says, hey, she's not the only guest here. We've got Fallon Henley also here. Next week, you're going to face her. That has to be a win for Millie McKenzie, right?
I can't say with a high degree of confidence, yes.
Right? Ugh.
Yeah. Then we got a Shaw Samuels interview. He's asked, hey, what's going on? He says, I'm there to make some money and take some bets. And Sid Scala walks by. He's like, hey, you see that Wolfgang used his scarf last week to get his team the win. You got to strike that decision from the books. And Sid's like, nah, decision stands. And as this conversation is happening, Wolfgang is walking up in the hallway in the background. And Shaw says, I want a one-on-one match. And he starts talking a bunch of crap about Wolfgang. And Sid's like, I can maybe make that match happen. And Wolfgang walks up behind him. And Shaw stops and says, Wolfgang's behind me, right? Sid says, yes. And then so he turns around and Wolfgang's like, hey, why don't we make things a little interesting? Let's put some money on the line for this bout.
I love Wolfgang. I love Shaw Samuels. They're great. They're so great.
Such great, well-defined characters.
I know. And the little bit where, it's a tried and true comedy convention. Oh, he's right behind me, isn't he, when he's talking shit? But he does it perfectly with perfect timing. After that, we had Myla Grace versus Isla Dawn. Myla Grace gave Isla Dawn quite a bit of if Cage Match is to be believed, this was Myla Grace's 19th match.
Wow.
In total. According to that, she only debuted in like 2019 or something like that. But maybe there was some matches that preceded that simply didn't make it to Cage Match. I don't know, but
it's entirely possible.
I think she's pretty new, and she's pretty fun in the ring, dude. Like she was doing some cool shit, like going through legs and then like buckling the knees and stuff like that. She was doing a lot of cool stuff here, but Isla Dawn ended up dodging a splash from Myla and hit her finish to get the win here, so she's back on track.
Yep.
After that, we had commentary announcing that one half of Mustache Mountain, Tyler Bate, after that nasty double cross last week, he is taking a leave of absence. After that, we had a Kenny Williams video package where he seemingly is going diving deeper and deeper into insanity as he's going crazy over Tiger Turin, and they had a bunch of shots of Tiger Turin and all sorts of crazy shit going on.
Yep.
After that, Noam Dar walks into Slimy Sid's office, and he says, as the longest reigning Heritage Cup champion, I've cleared out the whole division. And he says, who's next? He said, I've had an epiphany. He says, I'm going to have to retire on top. He says, but I know what you're thinking, Sid. One more match in a stadium with all the fireworks, confetti, and cake. Have to have cake there. And he said, the fans, can you hear them, Sid? They're chanting, please don't go. Please don't go. And he said, all right, Sid, so if you want to get on that, that's great. And he says, since it's my farewell match, I'll need double pay. That was terrific stuff.
That was good. Then we got Nina Samuels versus Saray. Saray wins this. She hits a top rope double stomp. We get the drop kick against the ropes.
Drop kick looked great. Looked really good.
And then the exploder suplex to get the W.
Yeah. No, this was great because Saray's awesome.
Yep.
After that, we had a Blair Davenport video package. I think they said she's coming back next week.
Yeah, I think that's right.
So that's cool. That's awesome.
That is cool.
She just needs a cup of coffee, and then I'll be honest, straight to main roster. Not even stopping NXT. Main roster.
Oh, right to main.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
All right.
After that, we had a Saray interview, but she's quickly interrupted by Zaya Brookside and Eliza Alexander. Eliza says, what's this amulet all about? And Zaya's like, oh, don't touch it. She might turn into a Power Ranger. And then Zaya tells Saray, hey, this is our division. Why don't you be coming here and taking opportunities from us? And then they start to back her down. And then Mako just walks like a fucking beast around the corner, and they just scurry away. Like, oh, sorry, Mako. Sorry, Mako.
Mm-hmm.
And Mako's like, hey, all right. She's like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. Then we got our main event, D Familia versus Mastiff and Stars versus Briggs and Jensen versus Andrews and Wild Boar. This match was tons of fun.
Yeah, it was, man.
Go out of your way to check it out. The first team eliminated, Mark Andrews, Wild Boar, Jack Stars rolls up Mark Andrews. After that, Mastiff is pinned by Raja after taking 2 flatliners.
Yeah.
And so the final 2 teams are Briggs and Jensen against D Familia. And then Briggs pins Raja after he and Jensen hit a high-low combo. They are your new tag champs.
Yep. They were very happy about it. Fallon came out and celebrated with them.
Mm-hmm.
It was
pretty great.
Cool. We've got a SmackDown tonight. SmackDown's going down, of course, at, 5 Pacific, 8 Eastern, as normal.
Yeah.
We've got Ricochet in a rematch against Gunther, which is awesome because we get to see Gunther just completely annihilate Ricochet, probably even worse than before.
I would think so.
Sami Zayn is taking on Shinsuke Nakamura for a spot at Money in the Bank.
That's right.
And didn't you mention that there's supposed to be like a Shotzi versus Aaliyah match coming up?
It was listed on Wikipedia as a qualifying match for Money in the Bank, but I haven't heard an official announcement about that. I just took Wikipedia at its word, which may not be the best idea.
Yeah, interesting. All right. Well,
we got to
hear about this. Nashville, July 29th. Undertaker's One Dead Man Show.
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh man.
We got a Rampage tonight. Apparently, there's gonna be 2 more buy-in matches announced. Tonight on Rampage.
Okay.
We're gonna have 12 matches total, 9 on the main card apparently. For Forbidden Door, matches announced for Rampage. We got Cash Wheeler versus Jeff Cobb. Jeff Cobb's probably gonna win that one.
Ooh, that's gonna be a good one.
We got Hook versus the DKC from the LA Dojo.
Okay.
Serena Deeb and Mercedes Martinez, who apparently have formed a tag team on Dark and Elevation.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be in action. And then I'm guessing this is the main event, and it's probably going to be awesome. Ray Phoenix versus Andrade El Idolo.
Yeah, all these seem like cool matches. 2 people in chat, White Brownie and Delaney, both claimed that they did announce, I guess, Shotzi versus Aaliyah for tonight.
There we go.
Last
all
week.
Right.
So very cool. Also, want to wish a happy birthday to Scrap Daddy Adam Pearce.
Oh.
Happy birthday, Scrap Daddy.
It is official. Today is your birthday.
That's a good one. Let's answer a couple of questions. I've got a community thread tab over here, question thing.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Mayor Planet Houston says, it must have been frustrating for Tony when the Jeff incident and all the injuries basically made him go against his journal of what had been planned for AEW. Where would the Hardys and Moxley had been had Jeff behaved and CM Punk been in Mox's match instead? So the Hardys would probably be tag champions. I think that was the original plan.
I think so. So it probably would have been... I wonder if it would have been the Hardys and
Bullet Club.
Maybe it might have been the Hardys and Sting and Darby taking on the Young Bucks and Bullet Club.
That could be, yeah.
That might have been the match.
And then, CM Punk would still be champion. Oh, I guess where Mox would have been. Mox. So
apparently, I think in the newsletter, I think it was, Mox was supposed to be in the tag match with Shooter and Eddie.
Oh, that makes sense.
It was going to be Eddie, Mox, and Shooter against Jericho, Sammy, and Suzuki. That was going to be the original idea for Mox.
That makes a ton of sense.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
F-Pop Entertainment, do you think Sabre versus Danielson happens at All Out this year? Hopefully they will do a couple Forbidden Doors per year.
That would be awesome. They should. I would love to see that. We talk about that tomorrow on our latest episode of Count Out. We're going to take a look at Forbidden Door matches that would have happened in a semi-perfect world. Jason Lewis says, if you could book a Forbidden Door event from any other era, when would it be and what are your 3 biggest matches? I mean, I feel like, NWA versus WWF back in
Attitude Era, WCW versus WWF.
There you go. Yeah. Stone Cold versus Goldberg. The Rock versus
DX versus NWO.
DX versus NWO. Yeah, there you go. That's good. Ric Flair versus Hulk Hogan in 1985 or something.
Yeah.
Do that match.
Tyler Warden, what's the biggest takeaway you hope to come from Forbidden Door?
Everybody leaves healthy and not injured. We don't need any more injuries right now.
Yeah.
You know what? I feel like I don't know, anecdotally speaking, because of the injuries, because of the nature of the card, a lot of people are kind of down on it and they're like, oh man, this isn't what we wanted. Maybe because expectations are low, they'll knock it out of the park completely. And it'll get a lot of positive buzz and more people will watch and everybody will be happy.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope that the end result is something that people are excited about and potentially excited to see continue in the future.
Let's see here. No Haven says, what other company should be involved with a second Forbidden Door pay-per-view? Well, Impact, of course.
AAA.
Action Coast Wrestling.
There we go. 1,000%.
Yeah. Let's see here. So Nikyle asked, do you think Forbidden Door 2 would happen in Japan? Would any Forbidden Door pay-per-views happen in Japan? I certainly would love that. I just don't know if they would think they could get I think so much of it depends on the money situation. If they think they could get the type of gate to justify doing it in Japan, then yeah, I would love to see that.
Yeah, and I think the odds of it, in terms of doing well in terms of ticket sales, maybe would be improved if they could do it after Kenny Omega returns.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. You know what they could do? Given that Wrestle Kingdom is now 3 nights.
What if do one night of just AEW versus New Japan? Yeah.
The third night of Wrestle Kingdom this year was the Noah crossover. Why wouldn't you have the third night of Wrestle Kingdom?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
AEW.
That's a good idea.
All right. Anyways, that's going to do it for us. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it. Until next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Stone Cold Steve Austin impersonator Phil McDonald here to tell you to go support Going In Raw and Friendo Club at patreon.com/Steven Larson. They got bonus episodes, ad-free audio, a weekly newsletter rounding up the weekend wrestling news, and a bunch more. Patreon.com/Steven Larson. Go support or get hit with a stunner.